Welcome back to Straight Facts. I'm joined by Big Steve. I took a mouthful of water just before it came on. I went down the wrong hole. Welcome back to the show, mate. How you doing?
Good, mate. Are you?
I'm getting better. I need football tomorrow, and I need a win. I need something to get me through the pain of the past few days. It's been difficult. I'm not going to lie. He's someone who, if I didn't have to work in this industry, you could just get over it. But the fact that every day. My brother's now 3 separate deliveries from Morrison's with a case of 7-Up 3 days running. I've got 7-Up in my fridge. It's mad.
Well, the way I look at it was this: you lot all got caught on a hype train. You got to admit it. Take a step back. Look at the bullshit that's been coming out of everyone's gob in the Man United fan world. They forget what's been going on the last 5 or 6 years. You finally got a decent manager. You've jumped on the hype train. Apparently, you've got the best striker in the world. You even said it to me. You've got Casemiro, the best midfielder in the Prem. You've got the best up-and-coming manager. All this nonsense. Sometimes in football, you need a kick in the bollocks. And you got a kick in the bollocks. And it hurts. And it's probably going to work for another couple of weeks. And the fact that it was Liverpool, who you lot claim is your real rivals, even though when you get beat by City, you claim that. But we all know City's the real rivals. But we know it hurts. And a couple of the performances that were put in by certain people we're probably going to touch on. It doesn't go down well. So, listen, 7-0, it's a sickener. Off Liverpool as well, it's a sickener. But, it could work the other way. When City slapped you up early in the season, Ten Hag came out and said he thanked Pep for giving him a bit of a humbling. Well, Jurgen Klopp gave him another humbling, so this might be another lesson in his road. He needs to stop running his mouth about eras coming to an end and all that when you've not really done anything yet. You've won a Carabao Cup, a cup that we talked about last week that a lot of United fans were dismissing when City was winning it as nothing. So there's a lot of up and down in the United fan base. There's a lot of giddiness. They're like puppies in the kitchen. You get a new puppies in the kitchen and you throw a bouncy ball and they all run after it. That's a bit like with United. Soon as Ten Hag says the right thing, you all run around like giddy as shit. Soon as the Glazers announce a statement, they're going to sell the football club, you all run around like puppies in the kitchen and that. But at the end of the day, when the puppy shits on the floor, and gets a slap and thrown in the garden, it's not nice. And that's what's happened. You've had a slap and you're thrown in the garden. So you got to get back in the kitchen.
Do you know what? On Rashford, I will just say, I said on form. I didn't say it was the outright best. But we do have some of the best. Like some players that are within the top 2, top 3, top 4 players in their positions in the world. And that's why this loss hurts as well, because you wouldn't expect this to have happened. I didn't think we'd get beat that convincingly, let alone 7-0. So there is a lot of that. But where I agree with you is the humbling. And for me, I celebrate our wins. But I was getting called out by a lot of United fans for the past 3 or 4 months. Why are you not bigging the team up more? Why will you not say that we're in a title race? Why are you not kind of like basically giving it the big one to everybody? And for me, it was because I knew there was a few more results like the Villa game, Brentford game, not maybe as bad as the City and Liverpool game, but I knew we were going to have 2 or 3 more games this season where we just got outclassed because we are still in transition. We are still building. Me and you have had this conversation a few times. The nonsense of we're in a title race was crazy. I would not state it. Some were even claiming we were going to win the league, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I love the analogy you gave about puppies because you're right. Okay. I look at it, I call them Phil Mitchells. That's not a pun at you because I used to have no hair as well.
Right? I get called Phil Mitchell all the time.
Yeah, I used to, and I say Phil Mitchell this way. I look at the United fans that are showing their asses this week. The agendas that are running against Bruno. Criticism, yes. The agendas stink. I'm seeing outrage over the most ridiculous things. It's almost like we've reverted back to the mood at the end of Jose's time, the end of Ollie's time, where people are acting as though the season is over. There's nothing to look forward to. The world is coming to an end. And the reason I say they're like Phil Mitchell is because they've been about 6 months. It's been about 6 months dry for United fans where there hasn't really been much to complain about. Ronaldo's gone. Maguire got dropped. McTominay playing less. We're winning games, like 72% win ratio this year. We were progressing in tournaments. We beat Barcelona. We won a trophy. There was nothing for these people to be angry about. And for a lot of them, when they're not angry, nobody listens to them. But what they got on Sunday, they got to have a little shot. They're alcoholics, but they were given a little shot of whiskey. They had that shot of outrage whiskey, and it's gone to their heads. And now, you've all watched EastEnders every year, once a year. Phil Mitchell, he's sober all year, and then he'll have one drink, and then he goes on a rampage. And that's what these Man United fans are trying to do. They're going on the rampage. But the irony and almost the clownness of it is what you've said. These are the same people that were talking quads, that were slagging everybody else off. These were the same people that in their previews for this game, I saw one TikToker talk about going there, beating them 4 or 5-0. Mental. So I do agree with you. I think there's one thing praising things that are going well, but there's keeping your feet on the ground. And this medicine that Man United fans have taken this week, including myself, I think is needed. It's all about the response. Beat Betis, beat Southampton, and move on from it. But Man United fans, one, slow down with thinking that you're going to go from where we were for a decade to winning quads inside 1 year. Not going to happen, in my opinion. And secondly, slow the outrage down. They criticize Bruno, criticize Rashford, criticize Lissandro, but the level of outrage as the season's over, for me, I've been embarrassed to look at that as a fan. I've been told, right? And I'm going to get onto Bruno, if we might as well touch on him now. I was told by United fans today, it's embarrassing to back Bruno. They've told me it's rivals of Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans, Arsenal fans telling me it's embarrassing. You can never support your captain for doing something like that. I'm like, bruv, Arsenal fans supported their captain when he went to prison. Liverpool fans supported their best player after he racially abused Patrice Evra, and their captain, and the team sanctioned wearing T-shirts. Chelsea fans still back and love John Terry after he racially abused Anton Ferdinand. So I'm sorry to say this. I'm not embarrassed to forgive Bruno for not working hard enough in one game. Like, the banter's gone a little bit too far. That outrage is a little bit crazy. Man didn't break the law. Geezer hasn't spent 57 days in prison for drink driving. He needs criticism, but United fans, stop showing your asses. Stop triggered by the banter, and almost, because what people do is, rather than being bantered, they side with the banter. It's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to side with the rivals bantering us so I don't get any shit. Stand up for your football club. We're not in a mess anymore. We're moving in the right direction. It was a disgusting performance and day. Criticize it. But wipe your mouths, put your Man United flag back up, and start supporting your football club, because everybody else is doing it. You're just showing your ass now for attention, and it's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's the Bruno situation. He's, when you're a captain, you've got to lead by example. You've got to. And, he just, when you see him doing petulant things, and it's not a one-off with him, it's not Terry, he does it a lot. The first time there's an incident or a foul, he's the first one over there shouting in the referee's face and all that. And at the end of the day, that's fine, if you want to be like that. But if another player's doing that to your team, you're the first one hating him and that. But the fact he didn't really want to be on that pitch, he didn't want to be on it. He wanted to come off. He was a liability. And I think if Man United have got to move on with him in the team, Ten Hag's got to have a serious conversation with him. He's got to sit him down and say, look, if you want to be captain of this football club, there's certain standards you've got to uphold, and there's certain ways of going about things. Okay, you lost your head. You're a Man United player and we're getting beat 7-0 off Liverpool. I get it. Some captains would probably lose their head. Roy Keane, in his prime, would have probably lost his head. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of them, like you said. It's a bad day at the office. It's against your closest rivals. It's 7-0. You don't want to talk about it again. You want to forget it and move on. But they've got to spin it into a positive. They've got to turn that defeat into motivation and say, we're not having that happen to us again. No way are we having that happen to us. We got gassed up. We got on the back of the cup final. We've had a good week celebrating. We've had all the press around us, all the fans blowing smoke up our arse. Man United are back, and we've had a humbling. So we need to go back to the drawing board and act a bit more professional. And then Bruno has got to be a Man United captain. On and off the pitch, he's got to be a Man United captain. Against Liverpool, it's not about thundering into tackles and having a scrap on the pitch and showing you're proud of Man United. These little things. Vincent Kompany, as a captain, was always a role model, even in defeat. He was the first one to come out and say, fair play, we wasn't at the races today, or this didn't happen. And sometimes as a fan, you want to hear that. But I think Ten Hag will get it right with him. I think he's probably took a step back this week, looked at what's happened, looked at the euphoria in the Carabao Cup, looked at the capitulation at Anfield, and he's thinking, right, where did we go wrong? We need to sort it out. So I don't see it being a problem. And listen, Man United's had a great season, a better season than any of their fans expected. So I just think for banter-wise, it's a shit one. Losing to Liverpool 7-0's minging. But as far as the season goes, it's a little bump in the road, and people need to prepare for a reaction from Man United, because I don't think Ten Hag's the kind of manager that's going to be sat feeling sorry for himself in the training ground this week. I think them lads have been through it this week.
Do you know what? You're absolutely right. What I would say about Bruno is this: the petulant side of things, I don't care about, because he's not doing it against my team. I know why rivals hate that, but that's the way Bruno is. If we were winning 4-0 and a decision didn't go his way, he would do that exact same thing. So none of that bothered me at the weekend. The diving, people say, you admit he's a cheat. Yeah, he dives like lots of players in lots of teams. It doesn't bother me. My issue was two things. One was when he didn't track a man, and that for me, I didn't want to see, and that I'm angry about. But can I forgive him? Of course I can. The second thing I was angry about is Gary Neville telling the world that he was asking to come off. That's now been not just he's denied it, but also we saw the footage. Gary Neville said he was waving his hands around, screaming to come off. He did shrug his shoulders, but you could clearly tell by looking at the footage, he wasn't shouting. He was talking to Mo Salah. So for me, I was like, okay, so one of the things you were accused of, you didn't even do. The other things everyone's moaning about, you do every week. So I just want to see a response. And I think you're absolutely spot on there. That's what this is about now, a response. But equally, I want to see Man United fans grow some thicker skin, because it has been a very good season. And that's why this loss, in my fervent belief, is I don't think this loss is going to define our season. No. I still think we can go on and win another trophy. I still think we'll finish. Listen, and Liverpool can have the 7-0, and it will live on in their history, and they'll give us banter and wind us up about it here and then. But again, there's all sorts of banter you could throw out there. We've got 13 Prems to your 1. I'd rather 13 Prems to your 1 Premier League than a 7-0 victory. We can all do it. You saw Peter Schmeichel clap back at Jamie Carragher about the whole, there's 1-7 you didn't mention, your 7 own goals. There's banter everyone can throw at each other, and it's funny for a moment. Yeah. But the club have got to get out of this and sort of move on. There's a comment here, actually, that says, from a gunner, says, Ten Hag said earlier that he wants the team to fight for every trophy. Yeah, look, of course, but we want them to. The manager saying we want to fight for every trophy is different from the club fans saying we're going to smash everyone and win everything. Wouldn't it be more embarrassing if Ten Hag said, we've won 1 trophy, we're not going to bother to fight for the rest? Come on, that isn't arrogance. That's exactly what a manager should be saying. And it's exactly what all the top 6 should be fighting for in every game. Every top 6 team should be fighting to win every trophy and win every game every time they play. That's not an arrogant thing for Man United to say, in my opinion. Terry, did you get banter from your dad? No, because my dad's a Spurs fan and he knows his place in the pecking order when it comes to football. I don't even mean it rudely. Spurs fan banter in this is weird, bruv. Honestly, like my dad would never banter me about football because there's nothing to banter me about. Do you know what I mean? It's, so like when you must, it's never happened to him, but you like boxing like I do. When you get these idiots that have never had a fight in their lives and couldn't fight their way out of a wet paper bag, when they start laughing at professional fighters when they get knocked out, I always think, are you mad? Yeah. Like that's the equivalent of my dad having a pop at me over United losing a game badly. It really is. I do have a question for you though. Mm-hmm. I'm going to post this for everybody else. What would you rather in a season, win the Carabao Cup or beat Man United 7-0? If you could only choose one of those two options, which would you pick, Steve? I think his signal might have gone. Just as I asked him there. Viewers, we're putting a poll up for you. I'm going to sit. Steve might have to come back. That looks like something's crashed his end. We'll get Steve back in a minute. But I'm asking that question to you all. What would you prefer? Win the Carabao Cup or beat your biggest rival 7-0 in a season? A trophy or a victory? I saw Babs talking about this earlier, and I want to gauge what the Football Terrace community thinks, whether results are now worth more than trophies. I want to get your thoughts on that. And if big results mean you have more trophies. So I want to know what everybody thinks and feels on that. We'll put a poll out for you to vote on beating your biggest right. And then how big would the result have to be to give up even bigger trophies? So would 10-0 be worth more than an FA Cup? Is 11-12-0 more than a Champions League? Like, how high do you rank the winning results? If someone says, who cares? I'm asking a question based on a poll that went out. I'd love to know what you all think and feel. Hopefully Steve will be back with us in a few moments. He had a bit of signal issues there. Here says cup, definitely. Noz says trophy in the cabinet. I mean, I look at it kind of this way. Like, if Man United could add up all of our massive results, we'd probably have more of them than we do Carabao Cups. So maybe I should say big results and we'll have more trophies. But we'll see. Steve's back with us now. Sorry, mate. The signal seemed to drop off there. But
yeah, it just went off.
Yeah. So yeah, would you rather beat your biggest rival 7-0 or win the Carabao Cup?
I'd rather win a cup. I mean, Derby Day is great. It's Derby Day, banter, local rights, going in work the next day, all that. Yeah, it's great. I've had enough wins over Man United over the years. I don't think, beat them 6-1, beat them 6-2, 6-3, whatever it was, 4s. They beat us 5-0, So you're taking the trophy. The fact of the matter is, that the United fan base, it was the 7-0 was it the worst defeat in 90 odd years or something? So it's not like it's a heavy defeat, and because it's against Liverpool as well, that's why people are making more of it than they should. But no, I'd rather win a trophy every time, me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. And I understand, like, to a degree, Babs made the video. He sort of said, I just don't rate the Carabao Cup. I mean, he did go to the last final that Arsenal were in the Carabao Cup, so he cares about it enough to go to the final. And he said he was angry with it. But I just thought I'd ask the Terrace community and yourself, because for me,
that's
as I was saying,
though, isn't it? An Arsenal fan saying he doesn't mind, he doesn't rate the Carabao Cup. It's not like they've won 50 of them, or they've got trophies coming out their arse every season. So he's getting a bit like, oh yeah, I can disrespect the Carabao Cup. If he was in the Carabao Cup final this week, he'd be there jumping around like a lunatic on AFTV, doing the karaoke special outside and all that, like they all do. You know what I mean? You've never seen a fan base as fucking giddy as them, ever. I thought Chelsea used to get a bit giddy, but they're levels, them. Levels.
I look at it this way. We don't want to get beat 7-0 every year by Liverpool, no. But if it meant that guaranteed a trophy every year as a base, if we had the Carabao Cup every season as a base trophy, and then you could go on to win more from that, over a few years, you're suddenly going to have more trophies than everybody else in England. And when you're a Man United fan, it's like, well, we've already got 21 leagues, got 3 Champions Leagues, with the second most successful team in the FA Cup. Honestly, I wouldn't want to lose like that every year. But if it meant you also won a trophy, I'd probably take it, because you can banter all you want. But as my trophy cabinet grows, you've got results. I've got silverware. And I just think, for me, the reason I really think it's a weird one is I've seen it a lot in football recently. You've got Spurs fans that believe Harry Kane can be a legend of football, not of their club, a legend without winning a trophy. It's like, this is mad. For me, I think trophies need to stop being disrespected, period, by football fans. And they need to be being an integral player in a team that wins trophies is absolutely massive. And I'd love to ask Liverpool fans a serious question. Would you give up the 7-0 result and it be a 2 or 3-0? Or maybe even lose to United at Anfield if you were Carabao Cup champions this year? I'd love to send it in reverse and see what you all think. There's a super chat here that says, in the face of adversity, captains need to lead by example. Bruno needs to reflect. Fans outing him, though, mental. First time belief after 16 years. Chris, this is it. He was terrible and deserves to be criticised, but United fans have this habit of wanting to throw baby out with the bathwater. And I think we had Lee Gunner say yesterday, everyone who gave up, they shouldn't play again. Well, then that means the season's over. Like, yeah, but it'll make you even better next year. I don't know if that's true. Like, you can punish people without banishing them all from ever playing for you again. I think it's a crazy one. But there we go. Viewers, make sure you're smashing like buttons and you're subscribing. This here says, as a Gooner, I'd take 7-0 over City versus the Carabao Cup.
That just shows you how big City is, isn't it? So they can say that Man City is small, irrelevant, but they'd rather take a 7-0 over City than winning a cup.
But that's just it, isn't it? There was a post that I said on Top 6 show a few weeks ago that Man United is everybody's biggest or second biggest rival. Everybody checks when they play Man United when the fixtures come out. No, we don't. No, we don't. Alex Gilroy-Trott did a post on Instagram where they're ripping into flex. It was funny. I watched it. You know, it is what it is. And he said at the bottom, on behalf of Liverpool, this goes out to Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Tottenham, Villa, Forest, Leeds, and everybody else. On behalf of us, we did this for you as well. Like, man literally listed half the league as our rivals. And that's how big we are. So maybe, as you say, maybe beating City from this Arsenal fans' point of view, and maybe beating Man United 7-0 is seen as bigger than a trophy because of how gigantic we are. But for me, I'd take the trophy every day of the week because that does. People say that it doesn't live as long in the memory. I disagree. Like I was at the last two, barring this one, Carabao Cup finals we were at. I still remember it. It's as much as I like bantering Arsenal fans over the 8-2. Those cup final wins mean more to me than beating Arsenal 8-2. 100% more because we lifted trophies at the end of it. But there we go. No 12 games left. Title race plus physicality. Well, we'll come back to that when we move on to that subject in a little bit. But viewers, make sure you're smashing the like button and subscribing to the Football Terrace. Interesting news today, Steve. Mauricio Pochettino has agreed to join Spurs again. I mean, they haven't officially offered him the job, but he's told them that he would rejoin Spurs. Some Spurs fans seem giddy about it. Some seem angry. Do you think that'd be a good move for them? Because Conte is going to go. He's not going to renew his deal. I don't even know if he's going to come back off sick leave. It looks like he's going to move on, and Poch might be coming back in. Good move?
I don't rate Poch. Never have. Big Six show. Told him there were 3 frauds in the football community. From day one, I said this, yeah? Go back to the footage, and it all came true. Pochettino, Tommy Tuchel, Bielsa. They were the 3 frauds in the football for me. Not one of them have got a fucking job. And it's proved right. So Pochettino to Spurs, does anyone care? If you're a Tottenham fan, you probably care. Does anyone else care? Don't think Arsenal are worried about that. United won't be, Liverpool fans, City fans. No one's asked. You know, he's been sniffing around Tottenham like a sad schoolboy locked outside his school for the last fucking 6 months waiting for him to get sacked. So if you want to give a man like that, and don't forget, this man cried when you got to the Champions League final. Not when you won it. He cried getting to the final. Now, if I get a promotion at work, I don't cry because I've been promoted at work. You know what I mean? Win the Champions League, then cry. But not getting to the final, crying and all that shit. That's when I knew that the guy didn't ever think in his life he would get to the Champions League final. So for me, he's not a winner. He went to Paris Saint-Germain with all them great players, didn't do it. You know, Tottenham didn't do it. Should never have got to that semi-final in the first place. VAR bollocks. And listen, it's Tottenham, innit? He's made for Tottenham. He thinks he's better than he is. They think they're better than they are. It's a match made in heaven. Pochettino and Spurs. Yeah, crack on.
Who are those 3 managers? Poch, Bielsa, and
Tuchel.
Okay. So Tuchel, I disagree with. I do think he's a good manager. But the other 2, Bielsa, 100%. Maybe the most overrated guy of the last few years in the Premier League. I never really understood the hype. These teams couldn't defend. Weird. But Poch, I agree with again. I think Pochettino is arguably the most overrated manager of the last.
And that's just my opinion. And I watch a lot of football. And with Tuchel, I seen it from day one. I watched a lot of Chelsea's games. And that season, could have played Chelsea 10 times. We'd have lost 10 times. They just had the beating of us. Sometimes teams have the beating of you. You can't shake it off. But Di Matteo won a fucking Champions League. And then now he's washing cars in Italy. So it doesn't mean shit. And Tuchel's the same. Why is no one offering him a job? Why is he not dining at the top table? Bielsa's supposed to be the best tactical manager in the world. Apparently he taught Pep and he taught Klopp. Well, why is no one banging his door down for a job? And Pochettino, he got Spurs to Champions League final, got sacked from Paris Saint-Germain. Why is nobody offering him a job? So I'm right. At the end of the day, people might not like it. The kids might not like it who play Championship Manager and shit like that. But the real football people will look and think, yeah, you're right. Because not a lot of people, top teams in Europe, would add any 3 of them managers anywhere near the club.
Listen, I think on Poch, as you've said, he's always been. There was a media agenda last year, ridiculous media agenda to get him into Man United. The previous agenda before that was to get in Antonio Conte. And I remember people scoffing at me. How dare you say you don't want Conte? Well, look what's happened at Tottenham. This would have definitely happened at Manchester United as well. It's fizzled out. It's fallen apart. But I didn't want Poch either. I went through moments where I thought maybe, maybe not. After he went to Paris Saint-Germain and what I witnessed there, I saw a serial bottler and a manager that just cannot handle the bigger stage. And with all due respect to Tottenham and Paris Saint-Germain, managing Manchester United is a different kettle of fish in terms of attention. As I just stated earlier, half the league sees us as their biggest rivals, or at least in their top two. The desire to beat us is mad. The media hype is crazy. Yes, there's a lot of hype when you do well, but there's equally as much pressure when you do poorly. He would never have been able to handle Manchester United, Poch. He would have walked away 6 months in with his towel between his leg, shaking. Tottenham is a match made in heaven for him. And this is almost, it's like a couple that have broken up. They've both tried new partners a few times. Disastrous results. And it's almost like they're getting back together like a marriage of convenience. They're going to sleep in separate rooms. They're not going to be an intimate couple, but they're just going to get back together for appearances and to half the mortgage. Spurs have realized we're never going to be one of the top teams in the top six. Newcastle are on the way up. They will push them out of it soon. And I think this is just a realization. They are a commercial club now. They've got their beautiful, shiny new stadium. It's basically a cross between the O2 and Westfield. It's like a shopping center, a bar. It's got a go-kart track. It's essentially like
They've got the longest bar. They've got the longest bar in Europe, yeah? The brightest fucking floodlights in the world. They've got the biggest NFL-looking screen you've ever seen. You can pour 12 pints in a minute. Now they've got a go-kart track. Other than that, Spurs have got fuck all.
Hang on, bruv. No, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. They've also got the greenest grass as well. They've got the greenest grass.
And sorry, if you go on the honours list on Tottenham's website, this is true. They actually got the Costa del Sol trophy listed as a trophy.
No,
they have. I swear to God. Go on the Spurs website on the honours list. The Costa del Trophy in 1982, when they won on the piss in Benidorm or wherever, that's on there.
Steve, I love you, bruv, but I don't not believe you. I've got to go check. Where's the honours list? Where's the Spurs honours list? Menu here, the club, the stadium. I don't want to look at the stadium. Let's look at the club. I don't know what the club means. Their website, some websites are awful. History found it right. I'm going to click on the history page. Club issues, club honors. Here we go. Other honors. What do you call it? The Costa del Sol. Oh my God!
You thought I was lying. The Costa del Sol trophies on the honors list,
bro. They've got loads. No,
exactly.
Oh my God! Tottenham. Dad, listen, I want to say thank you again, Dad, for not turning me into... Listen, my club lost 7-0 at the weekend, but we're not bragging about this. Look at this, viewers. I'm putting it on the screen for you. Steve, this is legendary. Look at these trophies. The Southern League champions in the 1800s. What have they got here? The Anglo-Italian League Cup. The Anglo-Italian League Cup winners. Oh, my God. Look at this one. The Norwich
Costa del Sol tournament. 65-66.
Yeah, they won it too. Double champs. Look at the Japan Cup winners. The Japan Cup winners. Oh my days, brother. Look at this one in 2007. They've listed pre-season trophies. That's the Vodacom Challenge. The Barclays Asia Trophy. They've listed pre-season honors.
You thought I was trolling. I've been on the Big Six where you've got to have your tin hat on and you've got to have all your weapons, yeah? And we went in on Toby one night and the Costa del Sol trophy. Anyone watches a Big Six show, it's a well-known thing. He gets battered with the Costa del Sol trophy because it's on the honours list, isn't it? You wouldn't even put that on there, would you, to be honest?
You don't include any... I understand there's a trophy that's...
Man City won the Thomas Cook Trophy 4 times, man, in the 90s with Richard Dunn and that. And we won the Joan Gamper Trophy, went to Barcelona, beat Barcelona 1-0, Martin Petrov, Richard Dunn carrying this massive trophy in a pre-season game. I was proud of it at the time, but I'm definitely not proud of it now.
But do you know what it is, right? That's exactly what I'm talking about. That is why Poch and them are a match made in heaven. A bunch of bottlers, and the club will love it. And do you know why the club will love this? This is the perfect move for Levy, because he will make them play pretty football. Poch does play nice looking football. That is enough for the majority of Spurs fans. You've got young Daniel that comes on our channel, Jerome in the comments. Of course, he wants his team to win. But I'm telling you now, if you did a secret poll with Tottenham fans, 90% would say they're just happy to kind of not have the pressure on them the big clubs have, to play nice football and to be talked about nicely. They're a joke. That's why I said my dad would never banter me about something wrong that happens at Man United. How could you? You guys flex the Costa del Sol tournament, the Japan Cup. But they've got the Sun International Challenge. What the hell is the Sun? They've got, is that like a tournament sponsored by the newspaper? Oh my word. Oh my God. This awful.
Listen, on a serious note, yeah, Mourinho's been there. Tottenham stole his soul, yeah. Conte's been there. Tottenham stole his soul. It's a club that it steals your soul. Pochettino and Tottenham, just let them get on with it. Let them get on with it. It's not going to affect anyone's life other than theirs. They'll all go to the stadium and sing that mad, boring song, Tottenham, glory, glory, Tottenham, dead slow. You know, tell everyone about the go-kart track. Sell a few shirts to the mad Korean dudes outside that just buy everything. And never win now.
They lose that when Son goes as well. Like
you can't get rid of him, because when you go to Tottenham, you will see how important Son is to them. The store is rammed. There's Korean people outside the away end trying to buy your ticket off you to get in the stadium just to see Son.
It's
crazy.
No, exactly. He's
crazy.
A massive asset to them and everything else. And as you say, on a serious note, like Poch, I think Poch will go back. I think he'll become their manager, and they'll get gassed and they'll get excited. It'll be another transfer window that they win. And I'm not even joking here. They'll do it. We'll win this. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And they're just going to end up in the same place as they always do. And that is the bottom of the pile. Whether they finish above some of us some seasons or not is irrelevant. Since their last trophy in 2008, look what even Arsenal, because Arsenal are back to in title challenge now. Arsenal have had probably the worst decade of their lives, and they've won what? 3, maybe 4 FA Cups in that time, and they're now back in the and they're now back in a title race. Man United, it's been our worst decade in 40, 50 years. We've had some awful results like the weekend, but we've still won 4 more trophies than them in that time. Chelsea, Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues, yourselves, and Liverpool, you don't even need to speak about it. It's an embarrassment, and Spurs fans should be fuming at this news. They should be absolutely fuming at the thought of Poch coming back. You know, it's rare that people return and do better. Even Jose, when he returned to Chelsea, won a league, but he didn't do better than his first time. You've got Carlo Ancelotti that's gone back to Real Madrid. He's obviously won a Champions League. But I don't know. I can't think of many examples in the Prem where managers return and it gets better than it was before. I really... And also, he isn't going to have a young, vibrant Harry Kane. He's got the man who's coming to the end of his career, who I think, look, listen, Harry Kane's got 3 or 4 good years ahead of him, but he needs to be in a team that wants to win. Now, Harry Kane's got to leave as well, and you know there's a lot of talk about him coming to Man United, and I hope that he does. One, he'll improve us, but Spurs need to, like, if Spurs are serious, they need to cash in on Kane and start rebuilding, because by the time they get their team ready to challenge for major honours, Harry Kane will be finished. Harry Kane needs to move to a team that's ready to start challenging almost instantly at his age. And it's just crazy. Their club's in an absolute mess. And as I said, I've got sent a clip yesterday of a Spurs fan really having a pop at Man United this season. I just thought you would swap places. Why are you bantering us? It's so weird to me. So Spurs, David Goggins FC stealing souls is what this super chat here says. Tottenham want to be like Arsenal. Did you hear that fan who called in to talk sport? The Spurs fan that Laura Woods was bantering the other day. You seen it?
Yeah, seen it, yeah.
Oh, mate, that just showed, like I said it the other day as well, Spurs fans wouldn't even be as angry as they are this season if Arsenal weren't top of the league. If Arsenal were
12 months ago, Terrace, 12 months ago, Arsenal wanted to be like Tottenham. They wanted to be like Tottenham. They were whinging and moaning that Tottenham had Conte. They didn't have a manager who was elite. This, that, and the other. And then the roles have just flipped. And Arsenal fans, you watch the Big Six show, they'd see it. People, Toby and that, were laughing at Arsenal last year, Arteta this, and we've got Antonio, and all that. And look how quick in 12 months things flip.
It flipped because they didn't do for Antonio what he needed. And I remember when he came in, I said, listen, this is a great appointment if you buy who he wants and you treat him how he wants. If for whatever reason you decide to give him players he doesn't want at the club, you don't let him sell who he wants, the results we're seeing now is what's happening. And yes, they're sitting 4th, but they know they're not getting 4th. They know Liverpool are coming. They ain't getting it. and equally, they're not winning any trophies. You can get 451, but a club just celebrating being in the Champions League is a small club. Martin here says Arteta won the FA Cup and no one remembers it. That's not true, is it? Come on now. Like, everyone knows they won the FA Cup, and it's not about everybody remembering it. And this is the thing. Like I said earlier, I know you're going back to the Man United losing. You will all remember and think about us losing 7-0 all the time. But we won't if we progress. Like, I don't think about what City did to us anymore when they beat us 6-1. I just don't. I remember the result. I know that it happened. But I don't think about it as much as I think about, and if I'm going to reminisce, I reminisce about the good moments. I think more about 2013 than I do 2012. And the same will happen. Actually, the only football memory that still really pains me is the Aguero moment, actually. That's the only one, and that wasn't something that was directly done to us, but that's the only one where I'm like, oh my God, still, that kind of, think about it, I get like a sharp intake of breath. But the rest of it, the individual games we've lost, I'll get over it, my friend. Maybe you're not over your big defeats, but I'm certainly over mine. This year says I'd pick Arsenal 7-0 versus City at the Etihad over a Carabao Cup because of what it would do to the title race psychologically, and with 12 games left, priorities. I mean, listen, that's different though, because that's you picking a win over a rival that you believe is going to lead you winning a Premier League. That isn't the same question. So let's just say your win over your rivals is going to have no real impact on the season, because I don't even think Liverpool will finish in front of us. If you beating City 7-0 had no impact on the league, would you take that over a trophy? That's the question. Not, would you? Of course, I would swap the if someone said to me now that loss is going to lead to you going out of every other competition and finishing 5th, but you can reverse it if you get rid of the Carabao Cup, I'd consider it, because that's more important things and more important trophies being unattainable because of it. But we can't. That'd be the weirdest kind of analogy. The analogy was beat your biggest rival 7-0. And by the way, City are not Arsenal's biggest rivals. This season they are for a league title, but that's a Tottenham. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but that's changing the narrative slightly from the question. But I hear you, bro. Thank you for the super chat. Speaking of Arsenal, though, do you think they obviously at the weekend came back again? You were probably watching it thinking, oh my God, like no one expected. They've come from behind again. Arsenal fans are saying we're not the Invincibles. We were the Invincibles. We're now the Inevitables. You've got the Jamie Carragers of this world stating that this shows how strong they are. It's why they're going to win the league. And then you've got Neville that sort of thinks that the conceding of these goals and the throwing away of leads, as an example, he kind of puts that down as the reasons why he thinks you're going to win it.
First of all, I'd rather listen to Gary Neville, that's won multiple leagues and been in title run-ins and knows what he's talking about, than Jamie Carragher that hasn't won a Premier League. So when you're talking about them two and talk about Premier League, let's listen to Gary. You know what I mean? Because he knows what he's talking about. I was driving home and he was getting beat 2-0 from the game. And my son went, Arsenal getting beat 2-0. First word out of my mouth was, they'll win 3-2. It's Bournemouth. Do you know what I mean? It's Bournemouth. And the best bit was, the Arsenal fans are all outside saying, Manchester City are not built like us. They're different. We are different. Hold on a minute. We've been doing this for a decade, winning league titles in the last minute from 2 goals behind. So winning 3-2 against Bournemouth in a game that you're supposed to win, that everybody else had already put down on the coupon as a home win, nobody's asked. If you want to paper over the cracks and say, we came back and we won it, that's great, fine. You won it last minute, but it's a game you're supposed to win. Fair play to you. But if you take a look at the last 10 games or so, they lost to Everton, drew to Brentford, they've been beat off City twice, yeah? Aston Villa, off the crossbar, hit the goalkeeper on the head and went in the last minute. And then the last minute against Bournemouth, went 2-0 down. It ain't all rosy in the garden. This is why I said outside the Emirates, when they were all outside the Emirates in front of me saying, we've lost the league, Steve, you're going to get us now, we shit it and all this. That's what they were saying. In real life, they were saying that. So all this confidence in front of the cameras and behind, in the bedroom, on the internet, it's not real confidence, it's fake. That's why I said there's a big blue shark behind you in the water. And it's not even got going yet. The pressure's not even started yet. The last 10 games aren't even kicked in. And they're already going on about mentality monsters, inevitables and all this bullshit. That's why the City fans are just calm, Terra. We're relaxed. We've been in this the last 5 seasons. It is what it is. We just do our job. Let them do their job. But if they want to look at their run and think, oh, yeah, we came back from 2 at Villa and we came back against Bournemouth at home. You should never be 2-0 down to Bournemouth at home. It should have been 3. If they're up against Brighton at home and Brighton go 2-0 up, they ain't coming back from that. Fulham, they ain't coming back from that. It's Bournemouth. We already hit them for 4 the week before. But listen, I get the confidence. It's fake confidence. It's fragile. They're all very, very fragile, that lot. They're all gassed up and talking. When people start running their mouth after games, say Man City haven't got what they've got. Well, Man City have, because we're the champions. We got gold badges on our shirts for a reason, because we won the league last year, the 4th out of 5. So they need to less run in the mouth, get on with their games. We'll get on with our games. And like you say, at the end of May, we'll see who's winning the title.
Listen, I understand that take. I think what you're saying about Gary Neville, I don't really have a problem, said it on all my videos about him, with what Gary Neville's opinion is. I just find Gary Neville's lack of credit that he gives. It's almost he very quickly rushes over how much Arsenal have improved and the positive sides. I don't necessarily think coming from behind is a bad thing, or winning games in the last minute is a bad thing. I've seen City do it in
No, it's great.
years.
It's great. But don't go on as if you're the only team in the world that's done that, because you're not. You know what I mean? We've seen it. Whatever, but it means nothing until you get to that last game and then you win that league. You know, all this talk and everything that's going on now means nothing. I've seen it all before. Seen Liverpool fans talk the talk. I've seen Liverpool players talk the talk. I've seen us have to win 14 games on the spin and go and do that and win the league. So we can walk the walk. We've been there. We've got the T-shirt. So I know what my team's capable of. They don't know what their team's capable of. This is new water for them. They're just going with the flow. They're living on their emotions right now. It's an emotional football club built on a pack of cards. And let me tell you, they're only one serious slapping away from it all falling in. And then they'll go back to, yeah, well, we knew we wouldn't win it anyway because, you know, Man City got it in, you know, and all that. That's what I'm saying with them. They're a bit of an insecure bunch. And they're all going mad in the chat, but I don't give a shit. I've been there at your stadium when we slapped you 3-1 the other week. As soon as I mentioned the shark, everyone got Jaws music in red and they all fucked off home for a kebab. While I went back to the hotel celebrating, because they know what's coming, in it. They know there's a shark coming. I've told them.
And you're still. I mean, I know that a few weeks ago you weren't overly confident about pipping Arsenal, but obviously you dropped those points to Nottingham Forest. Do you not feel? Are you still supremely confident? Then you feel like Arsenal will lose a game at some point in this run-in and will crumble 100%. From there. The pack of cards are going to do it. Where do you think that will come, Steve?
No, Arsenal are doing well. I'm not. I was the one that told everybody to keep Arteta. I told them that he's made great signings. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying Arsenal aren't where they are. All I'm saying is they need to concentrate what they're doing. We need to do what we're doing. And I can guarantee there's a lot more twists and turns coming because the pressure's not even cranked up yet. The last 10 games is where it's horrible, where you can't draw. The games are running tight at the end and little margins and this sort of move. And all I'm saying is we're playing well at the minute. I'm getting that feeling back. I told you about the feeling. I didn't have it, but I've now got it. I've got that feeling where, yeah, something's happening and we're moving in the right direction. I just hope they've got the same feeling and they can keep the pressure up. All I'm saying is don't slip.
Don't slip. Why do you think, like from your perspective, you say Arsenal fans are fragile. Why do you think they're fragile?
Because they're up and down more than the jack in the box. You know, 1 minute it was all confidence, we're going to win the league. And then outside the Emirates that night, after they got beat, they were all there saying, we're not going to win it now, Steve. And we haven't got the legs and, this, that and the other. And Eddie Nketiah is this and we need this back and all that. So they can say what they want on here and they can type what they want. I've seen it with my own eyes. I speak to the lads down there. We did a show at AFTV on the day of the game. And watch it. There's no chest. There's no chest there. It's all if, buts and maybes, where as soon as they win a game, they're off, swinging off the rafters saying they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And as soon as they get a bit of a wobble, it's all, well, we're not expected to win the league. We're Arsenal and he's done really well. They wanted him out 12 months ago. They were all outside there wanting him out. So some of them wouldn't even sing his name in the stadium. So let's not all pretend it's always been the Arteta train. There's a lot of them jumped on that train this season because they know it's going in the right direction. You know what I mean? But time will tell, innit? Last 10 games, time will tell.
It certainly will. There's a super chat here. Obviously for you, Steve, it says, how long have City been top of the league this season?
Well, we haven't been top of the league. But what does that matter? You can be second till the last game of the season and then win it. But then doesn't matter. This is another Arsenal theory, innit? They'd rather be top of the league all season. City steal it last day of the season, win the league, but they'll go round telling everyone they've been top of the league all season. We played well FC, innit? That's it. They get beat. They're the only team that can get beat and try and spin that into a positive. When we beat them in the FA Cup, yeah, but you had so many changes. All right, then. Well, we're coming to the Emirates in a few weeks. We'll see. We came to the Emirates and slapped them up. Your first team in your own ground, yeah? Disco lights going and all that bullshit. Didn't happen. Outside the ground, you're all crying. And then all of a sudden now, do you know what I mean? It's weird. It's a weird bunch, man. Like I said, last 10 games, we'll see.
Well, Carl here, one of our members, says, so snatch and grab, what a way to win the league. Baby Shark, he called you.
100%. Do our job, get to the business end of the season. Anyone slips, take advantage of it, win the league. Best way to do it.
This is Tiger says, I smell fear, Steve. He says you're scared of Arsenal.
No, the fear is having to win 14 games on the bounce against a Liverpool team that are far better than you. That is a fear, because that's when you're really thinking, have we got the minerals to do it? And we've done it. Nobody at Man City fears Arsenal. Look at the Man City content creators. Can you see any of them that are asked? Is anyone worried about it? No, we're just letting our team do its thing. We know what our team are doing. We're not dancing around outside the stadiums. We're not 1 minute we're up, 1 minute we're down. We're pretty level-headed and calm. We're consistent because we know we're coming into the title race, the proper race. So as long as we do our job, we'll be all right.
This here says, I'm sending bitterness from City fans recently. I think you mean sensing bitterness. Do you feel bitter, Steve? Do you feel bitter?
No, it's confidence. It's not bitterness, it's confidence. I'm confident in my team. Just won 4 out of the last 5 Prems. So what kind of a City fan would I be that I wouldn't be confident going up against an Arsenal team that's not won a Prem in how many years? So I'm confident. Don't take that for arrogance. Don't take it for cockiness. It's confidence. I'm a confident City fan. I always have been. I go every game, home, away, week in, week out. I'm entitled to it. You know what I mean? I've been in the shit. Now I'm living the best life. I'm giving you my opinion. If you don't like my opinion, don't listen to it. But at the end of the season, you know, we'll see then.
Do you think that, see, for me, like, I have no issue with people, and why would I? Who the hell am I to have it? I don't have an issue with anyone that thinks City are winning the league. I don't think it's a bad take. I don't think City fans that are confident are wrong to be confident. My only real issue has been the discrediting of Arsenal. And you're not, the irony is you're not doing that. You're not saying Arsenal are crap. You're not saying Arsenal.
No, listen, I'm giving 100% respect to Arsenal for being in this title race. The points total they've got now is unbelievable. They fully deserve it. They deserve it. And there's nobody more who's been more praising of Arsenal than me. And the real Arsenal fans know that. They'll tell you that. I've always backed Arsenal because I could see what they were doing. But all I'm saying is, stop all this nonsense about people being scared and people being rattled and that. They're not. We're doing our own thing on the blue side of Manchester, what we do all the time. We do what we do. And we're coming for you. You just do what you're doing and make sure you get over the line. That's why I'm saying don't slip. Because if you slip, we'll be on you.
The shark or jaws will be there for you. Mike here says, what do you feel about the narrative that Arsenal are only top because City fell off? I saw a stat that Arsenal have equaled City's best points tally in the last 5 seasons after 26 games, 63 points. That's from a United fan. Do you think?
Arsenal sound. City haven't fell off. Yeah, we've not been as ruthless, but you can't take away anything from Arsenal. They've done. They're top on merit.
Yeah, look, I agree, and I think that's the difference. A lot of people saying, "Why aren't you having a go back at Steve?" Because Steve ain't doing what frustrates me. He isn't saying Arsenal was shit. We're going to finish 15 points in front of them. They haven't really improved. They're only top.
I never say that, Terry, because I'm not that kind of fan.
Exactly.
You know me.
Exactly.
I'm not reactionary. I give credit to Liverpool when they were good. I give credit to Man United, even though it pains me. I hate Man United, but I always give them credit. I'm a football man. I love football and I respect people's teams and stuff. And I don't want to get reactions, but people can say, oh yeah, he's saying this, he's saying that. But everything I say, I will say to everyone's face. I go on AFTV, I said the same. Outside the stadium, I said the same. Sky Sports News, I've done. I said the same. I'm just being consistent. I believe that we need to do what we need to do. and concentrate on that. Don't worry about Arsenal. Let them do what they're doing. We'll do what we're doing. And then at the end of the season, the best team always wins a league. Fact.
Oh, 110%. Steve's thoughts on Jesus being back in training.
Brilliant. Love him. Get him back. Great player. You know, Arsenal need him. You know, brilliant. Get him back. He deserves it. Don't like anyone being injured, especially ex-player, brilliant player. I think he's going to be... they've done really well to keep top of the league without him. I think a lot of fans were worried that he was going to be a big miss. I think Eddie and Nketiah and that got a bit of grief, but listen, he's kept them up there, and Jesus coming back can only strengthen their cause.
Absolutely. This says here, City have been here. We're calm. The calm before the storm is what Cameron Dempsey has got to say. This here says the hard-boiled egg seems rattled.
The only thing that was rattled was your net the other week at the Emirates when we hit it 3 times.
City have the cheat codes. Is what,
always all the codes, all the money, all the codes,
all of them. Martin here says 100+ charges, players desperate to leave, Kyle Walker doing an absolute madness while drunk. It's not all rosy over there, is what Martin says.
It's not bad though.
Yeah, I mean, a few people have said to me, why haven't I commented on the Kyle Walker stuff? As far as I'm aware, he hasn't been arrested or accused of anything. Yes, there's like some footage and evidence, but I want to wait and see what comes out of that, because he may have flashed in public, but if
it's a private issue, and it's Kyle Walker's issue. It's not a footballing issue.
Yeah,
if he's got to do it on the day off, let him do it. You know what I mean? If he wants to be a weirdo and start windmilling in a pub, then that's down to him.
My view, again, is very much this. Like, I had mates growing up, especially when I played football and did sports, that would do things like that. But they didn't do it to people they didn't know. It was like within people within our group. If it's just someone he knows and it's all seen as fun and banter, then nothing's going to happen. If it's some random poor woman who he didn't know and she's horrified by it, then it'll be a different conversation. But as far as I'm aware, like, nothing's been clarified yet. So that's why I haven't spoke about it, because I don't know the facts. I saw what the Sun have written. So I'm going to wait for some more substantial stuff to come out about it. Thank you, Martin. Hassan here says, I rate BS, but come on, this is the first title charge. We are the youngest team in the Prem. When you won your first, you didn't have your chest out either. I said from before the break, we would win it, is what Hassan Ali has got to say here. This says, I've never seen this guy this pressed, is what Ali says.
They never watched the Big Six show then, after these boys.
I've watched it a number of times, and I don't even think you're pressed. I just think you're having your say and you're being assertive.
That's just me. Listen, I say it all the time. I speak to my kids like this. You know what I mean? I'm the same whether I speak. You've met me in person. I'm the same. I'm straight down the middle. I'm always the same. I don't get pressed. I don't get rattled. The closest I ever got rattled was when I just lost a Champions League final. I come out the stadium, which was pissed off, and I've got people like Saeed in his bedroom FaceTiming me. So that pissed me off, because, you know, I've waited all my life to get to a Champions League final. I've just lost. The last person I want to speak to is Saeed in his bedroom, sat in his underpants. So that done me head in. But other than that, you know what I mean? Other than that, I'm pretty cool, man.
I hear you. AMT says, I can remember the first time City won the Premier League. Wasn't that also the first time? The first time too. There is always a first time for everything. This could be Arsenal's too, is what AMT has got to say. I mean, it could be. It could be. It could be. This is an interesting one from Harry. Harry says the League Cup has no value on it, depending on your club's history. It has value if you don't have a history of winning trophies. My personal view is if you compete in European football, you should have to fill your under-23 team with 3 players over the age of 23 in the League Cup. This would encourage further development in the team. Listen, maybe that's your thoughts, that it should be used as a development trophy. And if it is, it is. But when you say it's only valued by teams with no history of winning, do you know why I clap back at that? Because you only have a history of winning if you win trophies. So for my club, Man United, who have got us and Liverpool, the richest 2 histories in Britain, England, of winning trophies, adding more to that is imperative. Thinking that we've won 40 odd already, we don't need to win any more. why would you? I don't know why you'd go from being an elite winning team to suddenly not caring about winning. I look at it the other way. If you don't win anything, so what? But if you're a winning club that wins regularly, surely adding more trophies to that cabinet matters. That's my take on it anyway. But thank you very much for that comment. I thought it was an interesting one. Roman here says, in all serious, Steve, all this experience talk, Jesus, Zinchenko, Partey, Jorginho, all have Premier League winning experience. Partey doesn't have Premier League winning experience, does he? Always a first time, right? I mean, what has Partey? I don't even mean this rudely. He's a very, very talented player. What has Partey won? He may have won stuff at other clubs. Honestly, I've never looked because I'm not an Arsenal fan. But what's he won? Oh, he did win La Liga. He won La Liga in 2021. To be fair, I didn't know that. I never see it. He won the Europa League as well and the Super Cup, and he was also a Champions League runner up as well. I actually didn't realize any of that. So fair enough. So he has won. But that's 4 winners they've got. Do you think that's going to be enough experience, Steve, for Arsenal?
Time will tell. Like I've said, they're top of the league. They're leading. They win their games. They won the league. All I'm saying is we're just concentrating on winning ours. Just let them do their thing. They think they're going to win it. Great. I love that. Get behind your team. I like it. But I'm just saying there's a lot of shit coming out of the mouths about they're the only ones to do this and they're the only ones to do that. And Man City can't do this and Man City can't do that. But we'll see, innit? We'll see.
Just very quickly, he didn't win La Liga. He was awarded a medal because he played 3 games at the start of that season before he joined Arsenal. So I don't think that counts as winning a league. Personally, no, he didn't. This says, hard-boiled egg. Steve knows well that Arsenal was going to win the league. I smell your fear and nerve all the way from Seattle, Washington in USA.
Thanks for the super chat.
Stone cold big Steve there. There we go. Listen, Steve, always an absolute pleasure to speak to you, mate. It really, really is. What does he say here? Take one of Foden's Prem trophies away then. Why? Why would we do that? I mean, again, I mean, again, I don't know the history of every single player. You should say why, Carl. What is he played? So he's got 4 Premier Leagues. So his first one was in the 2018 season. How many games did he play? He played 10 matches that season, but he was at the club all season. Like, I'm just saying, he didn't play the first 3 games and go and join another football club. Like, I think that's a little bit different. He didn't play 4 games, played 10 games that season. He played 10 matches that season. But there we go. Trophies every time, heritage, status of the club and legacy, that is enduring. A big win over a rival is great, but for the fans in the here and now. Yeah, I agree, Gunajuk. What's the poll saying, actually? I'm sure the poll, wow, it's 50-50. 48% say they'd rather beat their rival 7-0. 52% say win the Carabao Cup. Interesting indeed to see that. Again, I'll take the Carabao Cup every single time. Steve, always a pleasure to speak to you, mate. It really, really is. We'll be back again this time next week. Just in terms of tonight, actually, sorry, before we leave, Spurs, AC Milan, how do you see it going?
I think Tottenham will win it. I do. I think that result in the San Siro, they're winning 1-0, right, in the San Siro. They won 1-0 Tottenham. I think that gets them over the line. I mean, Chelsea last night, to be honest, they've had a lot of stick, Chelsea, in the last few weeks and spending all the money and Potter and that. But you know what? Last night, Dortmund, they came and tried it, didn't work. But Chelsea played well last night. And it's mad, isn't it, how Chelsea can be in the quarter-final of the Champions League but be struggling in the league like that. It's crazy, but sometimes them nights take the pressure away from the league and you can just go out there and express yourself. And I thought Chelsea looked all right, last night.
Yeah, I think Chelsea really impressed me last night. It's going to be interesting to see what Spurs do.
Milan won 1-0.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought you meant. Yeah,
No, I thought Tottenham won 1-0. I watched it as well, but
they're 1-0 down, so they've got.
I think Tottenham will win. I still think Tottenham will win.
Fair enough. I'm going to go with Tottenham win as well. I think similarly to last night, I'm going to go with 2-1 on the night. But the Spurs will get a third goal in injury time or extra time. Sorry, I think is how it's going to go. in relation to that. Winnerpool here says, Terry, we won the Carabao Cup last year. City won it 4 times in a row. Nobody cares now, but 7-0 will be talked about in 20 years. You're not Spurs. You shouldn't care that much about the Carabao Cup, and you don't. Again, though, when we say being spoken about, no, I just don't think real football people will be sitting there and debate in 20 years' time and talking about who's going to win the league this season or who's got the best history in football, and United's 7-0 defeat to Liverpool will come up. Because what people will talk about when, say, in 10 years' time, we're looking at who's the most successful team in the history of English football. If Man United have more trophies than everybody else, that 7-0 defeat is going to pale into insignificance. So adding trophies, and look, I want more than the Carabao Cup. I'm not satisfied with it. My quench is not my thirst is not quenched by it. But losing 7-0 to Liverpool will not come up in football debates in 20 years' time. It will be used as some banter. You know, if say, someone's, oh, we'd never get smashed like that. Well, you did 20 years ago. It also wouldn't hit the same. It's like you can't banter Arsenal fans now for the 8-2 against United because it isn't funny anymore. Because none of those players or managers are even there anymore. No, none of you bring up results from the 60s or the 70s or the 80s. So why would it happen in 20 years' time? I get you all want the banter to live on forever, but it won't. I want trophies over big results every single time because that is the legacy that lives on. Like, of course, people still speak about City's trophies when debates come up about, is this the greatest English league side of all time? If you took away all of City's Carabao Cups, all of them, but gave them 4 7-0 victories over Man United, and then you went into a debate where you compared this City team against the best Liverpool, best Chelsea, best Man United, and best Arsenal teams in English football history, nobody would mention the individual results against Man United. It would be based on the titles that they won, which would include domestic trophies, league titles, and European success. Like, if we're going to talk about it seriously, like, you guys are capping now. You're capping. There's no way a 7-0 win holds more weight than a trophy in the grand scheme of football. It just can't. Because no one considers Germany to be a more successful club than nation than Brazil just because Germany smashed them by 7 goals in a World Cup game. The fact is, they still have more World Cups than them. That doesn't count as an extra World Cup for Germany, does it? It's like you're going too far with it now, Winnerpool. Sorry to say that, my friend, but you're going a little bit too far now. Want to give some love to you guys, a fan from Madrid fan. Thank you, bro. We appreciate that. We try our best. But there we go. AFT will blame VAR. All right, for if they don't win the league. I wonder where that comment. Sometimes the comments are so out of sync. But there we go. Steve, always a pleasure, mate. Really appreciate you coming on. We'll see you again same time next week. Viewers, make sure you smash the like button before you all leave. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.